So, what is REST API actually? REST API stands for Representational State Transfer Application Programming Interface. It is a set of rules that allows programs to communicate over the internet, like how devices communicate with server and show users the desired data. Let's take a look at this image to understand how a REST API works. On the left side, we have the client. This could be a user, like you, on a computer or mobile device. Now, when you want to interact with an API, your device sends a request. In the middle, you'll notice this box labeled HTTP, and underneath it are methods like GET, POST, PUT, and DELETE. These are the different ways the client can ask for information or send data to the server. For example, if you want to fetch data, you'd use a GET request. If you're adding new data, you'd send a POST request. Now, moving over to the right, we see the server. The server has different URLs, as you can see here, like /surveys or /surveys/123. These URLs represent different endpoints or specific addresses where the server handles requests. So when the client sends a request, it asks for data from one of these URLs on the server. Once the request reaches the server processes it. And here's the important part. It sends back a response. In our case, the server returns JSON data, which is shown in this box at the bottom. JSON is just a format for organizing data that the client can easily understand. Finally, that JSON response travels back to the client, completing the cycle. The client can then use the data, maybe to display on a web page or inside an app. And that's how the basic communication works in a REST API. It's like sending a message from the client, having the server process it, and receiving a clear, understandable response back. So, let's see our favorite REST API in real action. We're going to use Postman to test it out. If you haven't used Postman before, it's a super handy tool for testing APIs. Really makes life easier when working with requests and responses. All right, now let's go ahead and put our dummy API URL right here. https JSON placeholder typicode.com users. Once that's done, we'll hit send and see what we get from the server. Boom. There we go. Our response is back from the server, and as you can see, it returned this nicely formatted JSON data. This is exactly how servers respond to API requests. So, let's talk about why are REST APIs so important? Well, let me break it down for you in a simple way. First up, simplifies communication. REST APIs create a standard way for apps to talk to servers. This makes life a lot easier for developers because they don't have to figure out how different systems work. They just connect through the API. Next, we have scalability. Since REST APIs are stateless, they can handle tons of requests at once without getting bogged down. This means your system can grow smoothly, even when more users come on board. Another key point is cross-platform flexibility. REST APIs aren't tied to just one platform. They can work on web, mobile, desktop, you name it. So whether you're building a website or an app, REST APIs will have your back. Then there's faster development. Instead of reinventing the wheel, developers can reuse existing APIs. This speeds things up because they don't have to build everything from scratch, which is a huge win. Finally, improves user experience. With REST APIs, you get real-time updates and fast data retrieval. This means apps run smoother, load faster, and just feel better for the user, which is exactly what we want. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Subscribe us and like this video if you find it a little useful.